Hello, friend, and welcome to the Sleepy Meteorologist. Tonight, we're floating gently into the mysterious world of lenticular clouds, those dreamy, saucer-shaped wonders that drift high above the Earth like silent silver ships, suspended in a sky of whispers. Maybe your day has been long, or your thoughts are still swirling like soft evening wind across a quiet lake. If so, this is your moment to simply let go. You're safe here. You're allowed to rest. How's the sky looking where you are tonight? Can you sense the hush above the rooftops? The way the moonlight filters through the edges of cloud like watercolor through rice paper. If you enjoy these calming journeys into meteorology and rest, feel free to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy sky watchers find their way here too, one peaceful breath at a time. So, snuggle in, let your shoulders soften. Feel the quiet curiosity of the night settle around you like a warm blanket of mist. We're about to drift upward now into the smooth, poetic air currents where lenticular clouds are born. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The first glimpse. What is a lenticular cloud? We begin with a gentle silhouette, hovering quietly in the upper sky. A lenticular cloud, softly shaped like a lens or a saucer drifting through dreams. It lingers in stillness, unmoving, even as the winds whisper through the heights. To some, it may look like a spaceship, a silent visitor cloaked in mist. But it is not alien. No, it is born entirely from Earth, crafted by the calm choreography of wind and mountain. Lenticular clouds, also called altocumulus lenticularis, form not by chance, but by rhythm. They appear when moist air flows over mountain ranges or tall hills, undisturbed by turbulence, like a slow, invisible tide meeting stone. The air rises, it cools, it condenses, and in that gentle pause, just at the crest of the wave, the cloud forms. Unlike other clouds that drift or grow in clusters, lenticular clouds hold their shape like sculptures suspended in air. They seem to hover in place, even though the wind around them keeps moving. It's as if the sky has taken a moment to rest, and in that hush, painted a soft oval of light and vapor. When seen at sunset, their edges may blush with lavender or rose gold. At twilight, they deepen into muted slate or violet. And under moonlight, they can seem like glowing boats adrift in a celestial sea. There's something about their stillness that makes the world feel slower, softer, as if time, too, has been asked to pause and breathe. You might see just one lenticular cloud, or a whole stack, layered like a quiet mountain of pancakes in the sky. This layering happens when the waves of air create multiple zones of lift and condensation, like invisible stairs climbing upward into the atmosphere. And although they are common near mountain ranges, like the Rockies, the Andes, or the Japanese Alps, they can appear anywhere with the right flow of air and terrain. Sometimes, even a small hill or gentle rise can create the needed lift. But it's not just mountains at play. The wind must be just right, smooth, laminar, flowing steadily. And the air must be moist enough to condense, but not so unstable that it breaks into turbulent clouds. When all of these quiet conditions are met, a lenticular cloud forms, perfectly still, perfectly balanced, like a thought, paused midair. So tonight, as you settle deeper into rest, imagine looking up and seeing one of these silent sky ships hovering above. No engine, no motion, just breathless calm. A cloud that doesn't need to move, because the air is doing all the work around it. And in that stillness, maybe you too can feel what it's like to be gently held by the wind. As we drift deeper into the soft science of the skies, we meet a quiet sculptor, a patient artist who shapes clouds with gentle, unseen hands. This sculptor is called orographic lift, H-OD, tender rising of air caused by the earth itself. When wind, carrying moisture, flows toward a mountain, it has nowhere to go but up, and so it climbs. This upward movement is not harsh or sudden. It's slow, graceful, like breath rising through a hollow reed. As the air ascends, it cools. The cooling allows invisible water vapor to condense into visible cloud droplets. And so, the cloud appears, not all at once, but gradually, like a watercolor painting coming to life. Right at the crest of this flow, if the conditions are just right, smooth wind, steady moisture, the perfect balance, a lenticular cloud forms, perfectly placed, as if painted by the mountain itself. This is the gift of orographic lift. It doesn't just shape clouds, it reveals the hidden language between land and sky. Imagine now a mountain standing tall under a dusk-lit sky, the wind brushing its slopes like fingers over piano keys. And out of this silent song, a cloud begins to take shape. Orographic lift is not loud. It doesn't roar or flash. It whispers. It guides. It lifts what cannot rise on its own and shapes it into something soft and sublime. You might even see multiple lenticular clouds stacked above one another, like smooth steps leading into the heavens. Each layer formed by another gentle wave of air, pushed upward and cooled by the mountain's embrace. And the most magical part, these clouds don't follow the terrain exactly. They form just beyond the mountain's peak, floating slightly downstream in the flow of air, like a lullaby echo that lingers long after the final note has played. Tonight, we watch this dance in slow motion. The mountain does not move. The air does not rush. And yet, a miracle unfolds in the sky. A sculptor at work, and a sculpture that lives only as long as the balance holds. As you listen, perhaps you can feel that rise, that gentle lift, like your breath softening with each exhale. We'll stay here a little longer with the mountain and the wind and the shape of stillness before drifting onward to what lies beyond the crest. Imagine now that the air around you is not still, but moving, gently, rhythmically, like water in a quiet bay. Even when you can't see it, the atmosphere is always in motion, soft, sweeping tides of air that ripple far above us. And among these subtle movements are something called atmospheric gravity waves. Don't worry, they're not as heavy as they sound. In fact, they're quite graceful. When air is disturbed, perhaps by a mountain or a shifting weather front, it begins to oscillate, rising and falling in gentle wave-like patterns, upward, then downward, like breath through the lungs of the sky. These gravity waves are not the kind you might hear about in deep space. They're called gravity waves because gravity helps restore balance, pulling the air back downward after it rises. And so the pattern continues. Rise, fall, ripple, rest. Now, picture a lenticular cloud. It forms at the crest of one of these invisible waves, right where moist air cools and condenses as it reaches its highest point. The result? A soft, lens-shaped cloud that seems to float effortlessly in place. The cloud itself is not moving with the wind. It's simply revealing the shape of the wave beneath, like foam on the crest of an ocean swell, not drifting forward, just appearing, disappearing, as the wave flows beneath it. It's a lovely paradox, a cloud that is still, yet formed entirely by motion. Air is moving through it constantly, but the cloud stays fixed, anchored in the wave's rhythm. These gravity waves can stretch for miles across the sky, forming rows of lenticular clouds that line up like sleepy ships on an invisible sea. Each one resting at the very top of its own atmospheric ripple, waiting quietly, held in place by unseen hands. You might never notice these waves from the ground, unless a lenticular cloud reveals their presence. That's one of the many gentle wonders of meteorology. So much is happening, quietly above us. Soft patterns, hidden until the moment they gather enough breath to become a cloud. So, if you're lying beneath a peaceful sky and you see a cloud that looks like it's balancing on air, there's a good chance it's sitting atop one of these graceful waves. Just imagine it now, a wave you cannot see, but one that breathes and bends and carries air across the sky. And at its peak, a cloud is born, silent, still, and steady. Tonight, you are that cloud, held by the wave, cradled by the wind. Let the rhythm carry you gently forward, into the next breath, and the next. Now we come to a question that feels like a riddle whispered by the sky. How can something stay still when everything around it is moving? Lenticular clouds hold that secret. They float in place, unmoving, even while strong winds rush past them, sometimes faster than a bird can fly. To understand this soft paradox, let's return to that image of a river. Imagine a large rock sitting quietly in the center of a flowing stream. The water rushes around it, swift, unstoppable. But the rock remains. That's how lenticular clouds behave. They sit fixed in the sky, not because there is no wind, but because the wind is flowing through them, not with them. As moist air approaches a mountain or hill, it's lifted into a wave, just like we saw with gravity waves. At the top of the wave, the air cools and condenses into a cloud. Then, as the air descends, the moisture evaporates once more. So, while the air is in constant motion, the cloud appears stationary because new droplets are always forming at the front and vanishing at the back. It's not one single puff of air staying in place. It's a continuous renewal, a dance of condensation and evaporation, perfectly balanced, a moving current, creating an unmoving shape. To the eye, it's serenity, but to the sky, it's subtle motion and constant exchange. Pilots know these clouds well. They often indicate turbulence in the smoothest looking air. But from down here, watching from a gentle hillside or cozy window, they offer a vision of perfect stillness. Just imagine lying on your back, watching a lenticular cloud fixed high above, even as trees sway and leaves turn, and everything else seems to move around it. It's a reminder that calm doesn't always mean nothing is happening. Sometimes, calm is simply harmony, balance. The cloud doesn't resist the wind. It doesn't chase it either. It simply exists, in sync with the invisible rhythm of the atmosphere. And tonight, as your thoughts flow by like wind, you can let your body be the lenticular cloud. Let your mind drift. Let thoughts come and go. And just be quiet and still, even as the world around you continues to move. A gentle cloud in a flowing sky, held by nothing more than balance. There's a quiet alchemy that unfolds above the mountains. A recipe written not in ink, but in air. Lenticular clouds, as delicate as a sigh, are the product of a rare and beautiful balance. They don't form just anywhere. They require a subtle mixture of elements, each one carefully aligned. It begins with moisture, not heavy storm-like humidity, but a soft presence of water vapor drifting high in the sky. Too little, and the cloud won't appear. Too much, and the sky becomes cluttered, the delicate lens shape lost in chaotic mist. Just the right amount, and the air becomes ready to sculpt. Then there's temperature. As the wind is lifted by a mountain slope, the air rises, and with altitude, it cools. This cooling allows water vapor to condense, droplets joining hands in midair, and suddenly a cloud is born. But again, the balance must be perfect. If the air is too warm, it won't condense. If it's too cold, the cloud may grow thick and lose its gentle form. What's needed is harmony, a narrow window of temperature where moisture, wind, and altitude meet in a single soft breath. And finally, the obstacle, a mountain, a ridge, even a modest hill. Not to block the wind, but to gently lift it. The mountain doesn't force the air, it guides it, urges it upward, softly, like a hand lifting silk. This rising air triggers a graceful chain. The temperature drops, moisture condenses, and at the crest of that invisible wave, a lenticular cloud appears. And even as the air continues to move, the cloud stays right where it is, the perfect bloom of a perfect moment. But what's even more magical is that this process happens again and again. Each time the air flows in the right rhythm, each time the temperature and moisture hold their delicate balance, another cloud may form, and another, until a sky of stacked lenticulars watches silently from above. You see, these clouds are not random. They're not chance. They're the atmosphere's way of showing us what it looks like when everything comes together, quietly and completely. So tonight, let your breath find that same balance. Inhale gently. Exhale even softer. Let your body mirror the sky's perfect conditions. Not too much, not too little. Just enough. Enough to create something beautiful and still. Enough to form a cloud in the shape of peace. High above the ridges of the world, where the air thins and the wind sings in longer notes, you might catch a glimpse of a silent sentinel, a lenticular cloud, watching from above. These clouds are the gentle guardians of mountains. They don't cling to the peaks, but hover just beyond them, as if keeping a respectful distance. They form most often near tall ranges, the Rockies, the Andes, the Alps, the Cascades, each range like a sculptor's hand, shaping the wind, lifting the air, and making room for the clouds to bloom. You might spot them while traveling through a valley, or standing at the foot of a sunlit hill. Look up, and there they are, suspended in the bluest part of the sky, unmoving, luminous, like celestial ships paused in deep thought. From a distance, they may look like crowns, gracing the heads of ancient peaks, or like halos, a quiet glow surrounding a summit wrapped in snow. And though they look light as feathers, their formation tells a deeper story. A story of wind direction, moisture levels, temperature layers, and terrain. They don't just appear because the mountain is tall. They appear when the atmosphere cooperates, when the mountain and the sky agree on the rhythm of air. It's a kind of weather symphony, and the lenticular cloud is the pause between notes. Pilots have seen them from above, floating below cruising altitude, marking areas of lift and wave. Photographers chase them across alpine trails. Sleepy travelers glimpse them through train windows and wonder if they've just seen something from a dream. And perhaps they have, for lenticular clouds seem to belong to both worlds, the earthly and the ethereal, born from the land, but floating just beyond its touch. So tonight, imagine a mountain range beneath the stars, a hush in the wind, and above the tallest peaks, a glowing lenticular cloud stands guard, silent, soft, serene. It doesn't need to speak. Its presence alone is a lullaby. a reminder that some things simply are. And in your own quiet sky tonight, may you feel that same kind of peace, stillness, balance, and the gentle gaze of a cloud keeping watch from above. Drift with me now into a sky where shapes defy expectation, where the imagination stirs before the mind can explain. There, high above the horizon, you might spot a silver disk, smooth, curved, suspended in eerie stillness. A flying saucer, a visitor from somewhere far beyond the stars. Not quite, but it's easy to see why many have wondered. Lenticular clouds, with their rounded, lens-like forms, have long been mistaken for UFOs. And perhaps, in a way, they are unidentified until you understand the gentle science behind them. Their shapes are strikingly symmetrical, shimmering at the edges, their surfaces smooth, like polished glass, often glinting in the light of the setting sun. They hover, unmoving, even when the wind flows fiercely. They appear suddenly, then vanish just as mysteriously, leaving behind only awe. In the days before radar and satellite images, these clouds sparked countless stories. Eyewitnesses described floating disks in the sky, spinning shapes glowing against dusk, hovering silently with no sign of wings or sound. But what they saw wasn't a machine. It was a miracle of wind and air, nature's illusion, cloaked in otherworldly beauty. And still, even today, their appearance can make hearts skip a beat. They don't look like the clouds we're used to. No puffiness, no wispy streaks, just perfect ovals, poised like thoughtful sentinels of the upper sky. But what gives them this peculiar, flying saucer shape? It's the dance of smooth, laminar airflow, air rising and falling in stable waves. At the crest of those waves, the air cools just enough to condense into visible cloud, and when the layers of moisture and temperature are just right, a lenticular cloud takes shape. Its form is shaped by wind, but also by stillness, a rare moment where movement creates balance. And so it stays, hovering, never chasing, just being. Is it any wonder that such a cloud would spark curiosity? Wonder, whispers of mystery. But you don't need to solve it. You don't need to name it or explain it away. You can just look up and marvel. Let your imagination drift gently. Perhaps you see a ship from another world. Or perhaps it's simply the sky reminding you that beauty doesn't need to be understood to be appreciated. Tonight, let the lenticular cloud float above you, not as a puzzle, but as a dream, a softly glowing question that never needs an answer. Sometimes, the sky doesn't settle for just one cloud. Instead, it builds layers, one atop another, like quiet steps ascending through the atmosphere. These are multi-layer lenticular clouds, a phenomenon as peaceful as it is poetic. You might look up and see them stacked, thin, curved layers, hovering gently above one another, each one echoing the shape of the last, like pancakes made of light and vapor, or soft stones placed with care by invisible hands. These formations tell us a story, that the atmosphere is not still, but waving gently through many levels of air. Just as a pebble dropped in a pond creates multiple ripples, a mountain interacting with steady wind can generate a series of atmospheric waves. And each crest of those waves, if conditions are right, can host a lenticular cloud. Moisture, temperature, smooth airflow, all aligning again and again at each ripple of the sky's rhythm. What's most mesmerizing is how they hover in unison, yet never touch. Each one has its own space, its own quiet altitude, like dancers moving in formation, but never colliding. To the observer below, they seem almost too perfect to be real, as if the sky is arranging its own quiet celebration. Photographers sometimes wait years to capture these formations, but tonight you can see them with your mind's eye, soft, luminous stacks rising slowly above a twilight ridge. Each cloud, a page, each layer, a line of poetry, the entire sky, a lullaby. So, as you drift towards sleep, imagine those layers forming gently above you, and know that even in the stillest moments, the sky is always writing something beautiful. As the sun lowers its gaze, the sky becomes a painter, and few clouds respond to that brush more beautifully than lenticulars. With their curved edges and elevated poise, they catch the fading light in a way no other cloud can. At sunset, these gentle sources glow with impossible colour: blush pink, lavender, deep coral, and soft golds that melt into violet. It begins subtly, a quiet warming at the edges, as if the sky is dipping its fingers in honeyed light. And then, like a breath held too long, the colour expands, illuminating every curve of the lenticular cloud's smooth surface. Because these clouds often sit higher in the sky, they hold onto the sunlight just a little longer. Even after the landscape has darkened, they remain lit, floating lanterns in a deepening sky. To witness this is to see light sculpted into shape, not scattered, but gathered, held. And the best part, it changes every moment. The light shifts, the colours deepen, and just before the last breath of daylight fades, the clouds glow with a final luminous hush, a farewell from the sun itself. So tonight, imagine lying on a soft hill, the day behind you, the sky above, and lenticular clouds burning gently with evening colour. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to photograph or name every hue. You can just feel them. The quiet warmth, the slow fading light, the sense that something beautiful is ending, but gently, without hurry, without noise. Let that softness settle into your chest as the colours fade to deep blue, and the night unfolds, silent and wide. Even the quietest skies have stories to tell, and sometimes what looks serene from the ground holds a secret current of motion. Lenticular clouds, so graceful, so still, are more than just beautiful. They are signs, messages written in mist. To a sleepy observer, they might seem peaceful, suspended like lanterns in the upper sky. But to a pilot passing through at altitude, they tell a different tale. Because where lenticular clouds form, so too do mountain waves, powerful undulations of air caused by wind flowing over rugged terrain. These waves rise and fall like invisible tides, stretching far downwind from the mountain that formed them. And within these waves, especially where the air descends, turbulence may hide, sudden shifts in motion that make for a bumpy ride. Pilots know this well. They've learned to read lenticular clouds as gentle warnings, the sky's soft way of saying, "There's movement here, respect it." The air within these waves is smooth in some places, but can become choppy in others, especially when the wave breaks, like surf crashing on an unseen shore. But don't worry, you and I are not flying tonight. We're resting below, tucked safely in the valley of sleep, watching the sky with calm curiosity. We can admire the elegance of the cloud without needing to pass through it. We can understand the science without disturbing the poetry. So let's return to the cloud itself, a lenticular hovering in place. It doesn't show us the turbulence directly, but it reveals the presence of that wave, the steady rise and fall of air across the mountaintops. It's like watching ripples on the surface of a pond, noticing how they change the reflection without ever seeing the stone that started them. To meteorologists, lenticular clouds are visual cues. To glider pilots, they're even more useful, offering lift when ridden just right. But to us, tonight, they are reminders of unseen forces, gentle warnings carved in light, and the quiet power of awareness. Let the thought drift over you now, that even the calmest sky may be full of movement, and that even movement can be part of a greater balance. The wind may rise, the wave may ripple, but the cloud remains. Let's pause now and return to the shape itself, a lenticular cloud, so simple, so precise. Unlike the billowing drama of cumulus clouds, rising and tumbling like towers of steam, lenticular clouds don't seem to do much at all. They don't grow, they don't drift, they don't twist into new forms, they just hold. A pause in the sky, a breath, mid-thought. Their edges are smooth, like the rim of a still lake. Their bodies, curved and gentle, neither sharp nor ragged, but perfectly balanced. And perhaps most striking of all, they stay put. Even when the wind moves quickly around them, even when other clouds race across the horizon, the lenticular cloud hovers, graceful and unmoved. This stillness isn't from a lack of motion. It's the result of harmony, of the wind flowing in just the right way to keep the wave, and thus the cloud perfectly formed. It's a meditation made visible, a physical expression of peace. You can think of it like a candle's flame in a windless room, soft, glowing, utterly focused. There's no tension in its presence, no striving, no sense of hurry, just a quiet yes to the conditions around it, and an even quieter offering in return. For those of us watching from the ground, it becomes a kind of sky mirror, inviting stillness in ourselves, a chance to pause, to match its calm, to reflect its steadiness. Tonight, you don't need to become a mountain or a wind or even a scientist. You only need to rest and be the cloud. Let your thoughts soften into a single shape. Let your body stay where it is, even as the world continues to move. And like the lenticular, you'll find yourself perfectly still, held aloft by something you can't even see. Not all clouds are visible. Sometimes the sky keeps its secrets tucked behind blue silence. No puff of white, no streak of grey. And yet, the air is dancing. There are moments when all the ingredients for a lenticular cloud are present. Wind, wave, motion. But the air is simply too dry for condensation. No moisture, no cloud. And so, the wave goes unseen. But it's there, all the same, rippling quietly across the sky, just like before, just like always. This is one of the gentle wonders of the atmosphere. So much happens above us, even when there's nothing to see. The sky doesn't need to perform to be full of movement. In these dry wave moments, the air behaves exactly as it would if clouds were forming, rising over a mountain, cooling, slightly, sinking again. But without enough water vapor, no visible cloud appears. Still, a pilot flying overhead might feel the bump of turbulence, or ride the lift of the wave. A glider might soar, guided by invisible hands. And you might look up and see only emptiness. But emptiness isn't always absence. It's sometimes potential. Quiet, patient energy, waiting for the right conditions. Just as the lenticular cloud reveals the wave, its absence reminds us. There is beauty in what we don't see. The sky doesn't need to show everything to be alive. So tonight, imagine a wave of air rippling across a cloudless sky. No shape to trace, no color to admire. Just motion, silent and soft and unseen. Let that thought comfort you, that even in the quietest skies, the atmosphere is alive with rhythm. And even when nothing appears to be happening, there is always a gentle dance unfolding above. Let's follow the wind now, as it begins its quiet journey toward a mountain. This isn't a stormy wind or a rushing gale. It's a smooth, steady flow, like a long, gentle breath. As it approaches the slope, it begins to rise. This is the windward side of the mountain, the face that meets the breeze. The mountain doesn't resist, it simply guides, and the wind obeys. As the air climbs higher, it cools, and if there's enough moisture in the air, something beautiful happens. A cloud begins to form, right at the crest, where the air is coldest, and condensation quietly begins. It's like seeing breath in winter, a visible whisper, born of warmth meeting cold. This is where lenticular clouds often appear. Not directly on the mountain, but just beyond its peak, where the wave crests and the balance is perfect. And then, just as gently as it rose, the wind begins to descend. It flows down the leeward side, the sheltered slope, the calm, quieter half of the mountain's breath. Here, the air begins to warm again. Moisture evaporates. The cloud dissolves. But even though the cloud is gone, the wave remains. A silent pulse, moving through the sky. This rise and fall, this breath in and out, is the mountain's invisible exhale. And lenticular clouds are simply its signature in the air, a soft trail of evidence that the earth and atmosphere have met and danced. Tonight, imagine that flow, the slow climb, the cooling, the quiet bloom of cloud, then the downward glide into stillness, like your own breathing, like the rhythm of sleep itself. The mountain exhales, the sky listens, and a cloud is born. Lenticular clouds are not everyday visitors. They don't come with the morning fog or gather like afternoon thunderheads. They arrive only when the sky is ready, when wind, terrain, and temperature all agree on a moment of harmony. But when they do appear, they leave a lasting impression. Across the globe, there are quiet corners of the world where these clouds are more likely to grace the sky, like soft signatures in places where mountains meet smooth, persistent wind. In California, near the Sierra Nevada, pilots and photographers alike look skyward, hoping for the elegant curve of a lenticular floating at dusk. In Patagonia, where the Andes rise tall and raw, the winds create vast waves, and lenticular clouds stack high above the peaks, sometimes layered, glowing, and immense. In Japan, the sacred slopes of Mount Fuji have their own relationship with these clouds. Locals sometimes call them kasagumo, or umbrella cloud, when a lenticular forms directly above the volcanic summit. And in New Zealand, the Southern Alps cradle the perfect airflows to create skies full of soft, hovering disks, so common and yet so dreamlike. Even in Scotland, Norway, and the Alps, where cool air flows over steep terrain, lenticular clouds may appear suddenly, like glowing ships over ancient stone. But even though we can map where they form most often, there's still something magical about their unpredictability. You can't schedule a lenticular. You can't command it. You can only look up and hope. And when it arrives, you pause, you breathe, you remember. And long after the cloud has vanished, you may still see its shape floating somewhere in memory. A rare visitor, but one that never quite leaves. As the sun dips low, the atmosphere begins its quiet artwork. And for lenticular clouds, this is the moment they come alive. With their smooth surfaces and curved edges, they reflect sunlight in a way that catches every subtle hue, each brushstroke of the closing day. At sunrise, when the world is still yawning, they may blush with soft salmon pinks, or gentle peach and rose, held delicately in the morning chill. At sunset, When the light grows richer, their palette deepens into bronze gold, copper, and fiery orange, fading softly into lavender and violet as the sun disappears. Each moment is different. The color depends on angle, altitude, and moisture. And even the tiniest change can shift the entire canvas. Some lenticulars catch light only at the edges, their rims glowing like halos, while others bathe fully in color, becoming luminous sculptures in the sky. When the air is especially dry and clean, the colors become sharper, crisp enough to make the sky feel painted. And as the light fades, the colors don't vanish all at once. They dim, they linger, until the cloud becomes a soft silhouette, cradled in dusk. And finally, night tucks it in. Tonight, imagine watching this unfold, not through a lens, but through closed eyes. Let the colors bloom in your mind: sun-warmed pink, twilight gold, dusky violet. Let each hue settle over you like layers of a soft, calming blanket. And feel, in your own way, the color of peace. Let's take a closer look now, not at the color or the movement, but the shape. The soft, lens-like form of the lenticular cloud, so smooth, so symmetrical. It almost doesn't seem like a cloud at all. Why this shape? Why not puffy or jagged like others? The answer lies in the quiet, flowing patterns of air. High above the earth, the wind flows over mountains in a gentle, undulating motion. This airflow is known as laminar, meaning it flows in smooth, parallel layers without tumbling or turbulence. When this stable wind encounters a mountain or hill, it's lifted upward. This upward motion creates a wave, an invisible ripple in the atmosphere. And at the very top of that wave, the air cools, allowing water vapor to condense into droplets. Right there, at that gentle crest, a cloud forms, but only for a moment. As the wave continues, the air descends and warms, and the droplets evaporate. The cloud appears only where the conditions are just right, in that balanced space between lifting and falling air. Because the wave holds its shape, the cloud does too, and the result? A lens, a dome, a saucer of sky. Each lenticular cloud is sculpted by the stability of the wave that forms it, the airflow acting like an artist, smoothing the edges, rounding the curves, refining the outline into something that seems drawn more than grown. Sometimes, these clouds take on subtle ripples across their surfaces, tiny undulations created by shifts in wind direction or moisture. Other times, they appear crisp and clean, like a single floating brushstroke. And though they vary in size and elevation, from small disks just above a ridge to massive domes high in the troposphere, they always hold that distinctive shape, the mark of a cloud formed by harmony. So tonight, as you relax deeper, picture a steady wave of wind, flowing gently, rising, cooling, sculpting a quiet form in the sky. And remember that sometimes beauty is born not from chaos, but from calm. Imagine now a sky with layers, not just one cloud, but many, stacked, drifting, each in its own world. High above, a lenticular cloud floats, silent, smooth, and still. And below it, a sea of stratocumulus clouds rolls slowly along, like soft waves stretching across the horizon. This kind of sky feels dreamlike, as if two atmospheres are unfolding at once, two rhythms, two voices in a silent song. Stratocumulus clouds form lower, closer to the earth, bumpy and rippled like the surface of the ocean. They come from moist, turbulent air and often bring with them the hush of drizzle, or the softness of an overcast day. But the lenticulars, high above, form in different air altogether, cooler, drier, and more stable. When you see one floating above the other, You're witnessing two distinct stories unfolding in the same sky. It's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it? Different layers, different motions, peaceful coexistence. From the ground, it looks as if the lenticular cloud is a ship sailing calmly over a foamy sea, or a quiet moon hovering above a restless world. And though these clouds may not touch, they are connected, part of the same great system, influencing one another through unseen threads. Tonight, imagine standing beneath such a sky, watching one layer drift and another hold still. Let your thoughts settle like the upper cloud, above the currents, beyond the movement, held in quiet balance, just watching. Long before lenticular clouds were understood by science, they were understood by story. Their strange, symmetrical shapes, their luminous presence high in the sky, sparked wonder and awe in cultures across the world. To the ancient Japanese, a lenticular cloud forming over Mount Fuji was called Kasagumo, the umbrella cloud. It was seen as a sign from the spirits, a message that the mountain was alive, watching, breathing. In parts of South America, these clouds were seen as sky ships, carriers of gods or ancestors, floating silently between worlds. Some indigenous peoples of North America believed that lenticular clouds were mirrors held up by the heavens, reflections of the sacred, showing us that the sky, too, has depth and soul. In Europe, especially in the Alps, folklore often described these clouds as omens, not fearful, but meaningful, signs of change, whispers from the heights. And of course, in modern times, many have looked up and thought they saw something otherworldly, a craft not made by human hands. But perhaps that's the truest part of it all, because lenticular clouds are not of human design. They come from nature's quiet precision, a sacred geometry drawn in vapor and wind. And whether you see a message, a ship, a spirit, or just a beautiful cloud, you are part of the long tradition of looking up and feeling something. Not everything in the sky needs explaining. Some things are meant to be felt, held in wonder, left unnamed. So tonight, drift through the stories, the ancient whispers, the mirrored myths, and let the lenticular cloud be whatever you need it to be: a breath, a sign, a vessel, or simply a lullaby. Sometimes, when you look up at a lenticular cloud, you don't just see the sky, you see something else, something quieter, a reflection, not of the earth, but of yourself. These clouds, with their still, suspended forms, act like mirrors, not of light, but of stillness. In a world of constant movement, constant sound, the lenticular cloud seems to hold its breath, to float in place, doing nothing more than existing perfectly, peacefully. It doesn't need to billow, it doesn't swirl or scatter. It stays where it is, held by the wave beneath it, neither fighting nor falling. And when you look at it, maybe, just maybe, you remember what it feels like to be still too, to pause, to rest. These clouds invite introspection, not loudly, but with a whisper. They appear in quiet skies and ask nothing of you, only that you notice and feel whatever rises to meet the silence. Some have described lenticular clouds as sky mirrors, a place where the atmosphere holds up its palm and says, "Look, you are calm, you are here." Maybe that's why they feel so special. They don't just float, they reflect. They mirror the moments when we too are in balance, not moving forward, not pulled backward, just suspended gently in the now. Tonight, linger with that image, a mirror in the sky, curved, glowing softly, showing you not your reflection, but your stillness. The part of you that doesn't need to move, the part that is already calm. Let that cloud hold your breath for a while, so you don't have to. And in its hush, find your own. In real time, lenticular clouds seem still, fixed, quiet. But if you speed up the hours, if you watch them in time-lapse, a hidden world reveals itself. Suddenly, the cloud breathes. It pulses. It forms, fades, reforms. It stretches gently, then contracts. A slow motion sigh unfolding across the sky. Captured on camera, these changes feel elegant, a kind of atmospheric choreography. The lenticular cloud is born at the crest of an invisible wave, and as the wave continues, the air cools, condenses, then warms and evaporates. It's a continuous cycle. The cloud isn't a single entity staying in place, but a process that appears fixed only because it is constantly renewing itself. One breath in, condensation. One breath out, evaporation. In time-lapse, we see that truth, the truth that even stillness is made of movement. And maybe that's comforting, because when we feel stuck, or frozen, or paused, we might still be moving, just in slow, subtle ways we can't yet feel. Lenticular clouds teach us that change doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's the invisible shifts, the internal balancing that shape what we become. So tonight, imagine watching one in time-lapse, hours passing in minutes, light changing, clouds forming and unforming like thoughts in a meditative mind. Everything changes, even the things that seem still. Let that reminder ease your breath and soften your sleep. High above us, far beyond what we can see, an invisible river flows through the sky. This river is the jet stream, a fast-moving current of air that winds its way around the globe, steering storms, shifting weather, and shaping the atmosphere. Though it lives high above, near the top of the troposphere, the jet stream sometimes reaches down, gently, and leaves its mark on the clouds below. Lenticular clouds may seem distant from this high-speed wind, but there is a quiet connection. When conditions align, the jet stream influences the way air moves across mountain ranges. It guides the flow, strengthens the waves, adds a subtle pulse to the patterns below. And when that airflow dips downward, when it interacts with the terrain in just the right way, it can help form the standing waves that give birth to lenticular clouds. It's a soft connection, not loud or obvious, not the crash of thunder, but the brush of silk. The jet stream doesn't create the cloud, but it helps shape the conditions that allow it to form, like a whisper from above, guiding the rhythm below. And isn't that how life works sometimes? The forces that shape us aren't always visible. We may not feel the jet stream, but it moves the sky we live under. We may not hear the whisper, but we respond to its touch. Tonight, as you lie back and imagine that vast river of air moving above you, know that even when you feel small, even when you feel far from the source, you are connected by breath, by wind, by something greater gently shaping your skies. Every lenticular cloud is a miracle of balance. Not too much, not too little, just enough. We often talk about how wind and mountains shape these ethereal forms, but without the right amount of moisture, there is no cloud at all. If the air is too dry, the wave still forms, rising and falling through the sky, but it leaves no visible trace, no condensation, no breath in the cold. The cloud remains only a possibility, unseen. If the air is too moist, the cloud becomes heavy with droplets. Its edges blur, its lens-like form dissolves into a shapeless mass of mist. It is the in-between where lenticulars find their grace. The air must contain just enough water vapor, not to pour, not to vanish, but to hover in perfect suspension. It's like balancing on a knife's edge made of wind and temperature. Precarious, delicate, beautiful. This is one of nature's quiet truths, that some of its most elegant creations exist only when the conditions are just right. We often think of extremes, drought and downpour, heat and cold, motion and stillness. But the lenticular cloud lives in the middle. It is born from moderation, from balance, from a whispered yes between sky and vapor. Tonight, as you breathe softly, feel that middle space in yourself. The place that isn't reaching, isn't shrinking, but simply being. Not too dry, not too full, just enough. And there, in that moment, you are the cloud. Let's look more closely now at the edges. The outer curve of a lenticular cloud is unlike any other in the sky. Soft, yes, but also precise. It's not the ragged puff of cumulus or the torn veil of cirrus. It's something else. A smooth, even outline, as if traced by an unseen brush with the steadiest of hands. From a distance, the cloud may seem like a disk, a dome, a ship. But up close, it's the edges that captivate. In daylight, they shimmer faintly, catching the angle of the sun like light on silk. At twilight, they glow gold, then coral, then quietly fade to blue-grey as night takes the brush. And under moonlight, oh, under moonlight, they become ghostly outlines, soft as breath on glass. You might imagine a painter standing on the wind, carving curves in vapor, or a calligrapher writing one long word with perfect stillness. These edges speak in poetry, not with sound, but with shape. They show us what it means to be defined without being rigid, to be clear without being sharp. There's elegance in that, a quiet mastery. Nature has no straight lines here, no sudden corners, only curves, only grace. So tonight, as your thoughts begin to blur at the edges, let the image of a lenticular cloud remind you. You can be soft and still whole. You can be delicate and still enduring. Your own breath, your own stillness, has edges just like these, rounded by time, shaped by wind, and beautiful in their impermanence. Even something as dreamy as a lenticular cloud has a formal name. A name whispered in weather stations, written in pilot reports, and recorded in meteorological logs. That name is Altocumulus lenticularis, a quiet mouthful, a scientific label, and yet somehow still beautiful. Let's unfold it gently. Alto means high, not the highest, but not low. Mid-level in the sky, a region where air moves with quiet intent, shaped by subtle forces. Cumulus means heaped or piled, the language of form, of cloud bodies, made from rising air. And lenticularis, the most lyrical of all, means lens-shaped. So together, Altocumulus lenticularis, a mid-level, heaped, lens-like cloud. Even in naming, we find poetry. The scientists give clouds their structure through language, their identity in Latin tones. But names do not strip them of wonder. If anything, they deepen it. Because to name something is to say, I see you. Not just with my eyes, but with curiosity, with care. You can still call them lenticulars, or cloud ships, or sky mirrors. You can imagine them as spirits, or signs, or metaphors. But know, too, that even in the precise world of meteorology, they are respected, studied, admired. The formal name doesn't replace the feeling, it adds to it. So tonight, let the words drift softly through your mind. Altocumulus lenticularis, a lullaby in Latin, a label made of air. And whether you see them as science or story, they remain what they have always been, a gift from the balance of earth and sky. Lenticular clouds don't just resemble lenses, they behave like them too. High above, suspended in the upper air, They become curved windows through which sunlight filters, bends, scatters, and sometimes creates something magical. When conditions are just right, these clouds interact with light in extraordinary ways. You may see a halo, a soft, circular glow around the sun or moon, caused by light refracting through ice crystals within the cloud. A ring of pale gold or moonlit silver, like the sky quietly crowning itself. Or perhaps you'll witness corona, not the kind that radiates heat, but a delicate series of coloured rings close to the sun or moon, formed when light diffracts around water droplets. The result is luminous, pastel, dreamlike, and sometimes, on rare days when the sun is low and the moisture in the cloud is just thin enough, the lenticular becomes a canvas for iridescence. Shimmering colours appear at the edges: pinks, greens, blues, and violets, like oil on water or the wing of a butterfly catching the sun. This is the atmosphere painting, not with pigment, but with physics. Light bending and scattering, drawn by the lens-like shape of the cloud. It's no wonder we associate these displays with awe, even reverence. A cloud becomes a crown, a sky becomes sacred, and it all begins with the quiet shape of wind curving just enough moisture into just the right form. So tonight, imagine a lenticular cloud catching light at dusk. First gold, then pink, then glowing faintly at the edges with colours you can't name. Let your mind drift through those shifting hues, soft and iridescent, as light plays gently on vapour. And remember that even the sky sometimes wears jewellery. Now let's rise higher still, beyond the mountains, beyond the troposphere, into the stillness of space. From up here, from the calm eyes of orbiting satellites, the Earth tells its own quiet stories. And among those stories, lenticular clouds appear. Seen from above, they are subtle, soft shapes, ovals and domes gently pressed against the atmosphere. They cast faint shadows over ridges, like fingerprints left by the sky. Some look like pale ripples, carved by invisible hands. Others seem like ghostly discs, hovering just above a sea of lower clouds, silent and sublime. To us on the ground, these clouds float above. To satellites, they are part of the texture of Earth itself, as much a part of the planet's mood as forests, oceans, or snowcaps. It's humbling to know that even something so ephemeral can be seen from space, not as a storm, not as a danger, but as a moment of stillness recorded from the silence above. And from up there, no sound is needed, no explanation, just the view, the curved beauty of a lenticular cloud gently stitched into the skin of the world. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine seeing the Earth this way, blue and soft, weather swirling in delicate patterns, and somewhere, a lenticular cloud floats gently in your field of view, a quiet witness to a planet that's always breathing. Let's return once more to one of the most beautiful paradoxes in the sky. Lenticular clouds are born of motion, created by wind that rises, dips, waves and flows like liquid silk across the mountains. And yet, they do not move. The air within them is in constant motion, yes, but the cloud itself holds its place. It doesn't drift, it doesn't rush, it stays suspended, as though the sky has chosen one spot to exhale into form. New droplets are always forming at the front, as older ones evaporate at the back. The cloud is not a single object, but a process, a cycle unfolding at the crest of a wave. And still, to us, it looks like one single peaceful thing. This is the gift of the lenticular, a reminder that stillness does not mean stagnation, that you can be full of motion, internal, subtle, dynamic, and yet still hold your place with calm and clarity. It's a lesson written in vapor, taught by wind, and understood by the body. So tonight, as your own breath rises and falls, know that you too are a rhythm in motion. You can be moving without going anywhere. You can be shaped by waves and still remain. You are the lenticular cloud, held in place by grace. Mountains don't speak with words, but they leave signatures in the sky. Each one, tall or small, sharp or rounded, shapes the air around it in a way that's entirely its own. A wind that touches the Rockies flows differently than one brushing the Andes, and differently still over Fuji's sacred slopes or the ancient peaks of the Scottish Highlands. The lenticular clouds that form above them are not just clouds, they are expressions, signatures, poems written in vapor by the silent profile of the land. When air moves across a mountain, it rises and falls in waves, and if the moisture, temperature, and wind conditions are right, those waves become visible, and a lenticular cloud is born. But the shape of that cloud, its layering, its tilt, its height, reflect the terrain below. Some lenticulars are elongated, stretched wide across a long ridge. Others are small and round, hovering like a single thought above a sharp peak. Some form in delicate stacks, like a column of breath ascending toward the stars. Others appear solo, one perfect arc drawn above a valley. These differences are not random. They are signatures. Each mountain writes its own letter to the sky. To a meteorologist, these patterns reveal the mountain's hand, how it shapes airflow, how it lifts and guides, how it breathes. To us, as sleepy observers, it feels like watching the landscape speak softly through the clouds. So tonight, imagine a mountain you've seen or known, a quiet giant on the horizon. Now picture the wind flowing over it, rising, cooling, curling into a single, smooth cloud. That cloud, its shape, its presence, is the mountain's silent voice. And as you rest beneath it, you are reading a sky-written poem, composed by stone, lifted by air, and shaped by peace. Lenticular clouds don't always travel alone. Sometimes, in the same mountain sky, you'll see their sisters nearby, different in shape, but born of the same breath of wind. Let's meet two of them tonight, cap clouds and rotor clouds. Cap clouds are quiet companions. They sit like soft hats atop mountain peaks, clinging gently to the summit as if keeping the mountain warm. They form when moist air flows up and over a peak, cooling and condensing right at the top. But unlike lenticulars, they don't hover downstream. They stay wrapped around the summit, a hush of mist hugging stone. They often appear first, just before the lenticular takes shape farther along the wave. Then, there are the rotor clouds, their moodier, more turbulent cousins. Rotor clouds form lower, beneath the lenticular layer, where the wind swirls and spins like a slow, rolling wheel. They look choppy, rough at the edges, as if they've been stirred. To pilots, rotor clouds mean turbulence. To us, from the ground, they tell a story of contrast, calm above, swirl below. These three cloud types, cap, lenticular, rotor, are part of the same conversation. They appear in different layers, each shaped by a part of the mountain's wind, each telling a different side of the same gentle story. So tonight, imagine them all together, a cap on the summit, a lenticular floating above, a rotor rolling beneath. Three sisters in the sky, three movements in a symphony, three brushstrokes on the same canvas of air. And in their presence, you are surrounded by softness, by science, and by sky. Lenticular clouds do not arrive in chaos. They appear when the sky listens. Not silent, but still enough. Not empty, but calm enough to wave, like the surface of a lake undisturbed by oars. They form when the atmosphere is stable, when the wind flows smoothly, without tumbling or breaking. In other words, the sky must be in a quiet mood. It must whisper, not roar, flow, not swirl. The mountain offers its shape, the wind offers its rhythm, and the cloud appears, not forced, but invited. This is why lenticular clouds feel so peaceful. They are shaped not by violence, but by the patience of air in balance. To see one is to know that the sky has reached a moment of cooperation, a moment where everything is aligned: temperature, wind, moisture, terrain, all agreeing to form something soft and still. You won't find lenticulars in the middle of storms. They don't thrive in noisy air. They bloom in quiet. They rise from subtlety, and that's what makes them special. They are not clouds that shout. They are clouds that listen. So tonight, listen with them, not for words, but for the space between them. Let your own thoughts soften. Let your inner wind slow. Become stable enough, gentle enough to form a cloud. A moment, a breath, a shape held in perfect quiet. For those who watch the sky with patient eyes, there are few sights more treasured than a lenticular cloud. These quiet wonders are the jewels of the atmosphere, rare, elegant, and often fleeting. To meteorologists, they are a fascinating display of airflow and balance. To photographers and artists, they are visual poetry, an unexpected gift that transforms a familiar sky into a masterpiece. And to cloud collectors, yes, there are such people. They are the dream. Cloud collectors are the quiet romantics of the weather world. They chase not storms, but shapes. They look for Arcus and Mammatus, noctilucent wisps and iridescent veils. But among all these, lenticulars hold a special place because they don't come often, and they never stay long. Those who seek them know the signs: a strong, steady wind from the right direction, a mountain nearby, moisture just enough, but not too much. They learn to read the language of the sky, waiting for the atmosphere to whisper soon. Some have traveled far, across deserts, into alpine valleys, beneath remote ridges, just for the chance to witness a perfect lenticular at dusk. And when they see it, that smooth disk, glowing faintly in the late light, they don't shout, they don't run, they simply look, because lenticulars are not clouds you conquer, they are clouds you receive, quietly, gratefully. So tonight, you too are a cloud collector, not of images or data, but of stillness and wonder. Close your eyes. Let the memory of the sky drift over you. A single lenticular cloud, hovering perfect. A treasure not held in hand, but in heart. Beneath a lenticular cloud, the sky sings. Not loudly, not in thunder or roar, but in whispers, soft, swirling currents that move with purpose and poise. Though the cloud above may seem frozen in place, the air below it is alive, shifting, rising, curling into spirals of movement. This is the wind song, the quiet music of the atmosphere. As the air climbs the mountain's windward slope, it hums with upward energy, a soundless crescendo of motion. And then, passing beneath the cloud, it continues, sinking, swirling, returning. Some say you can feel it, even if you can't hear it. The breeze changes texture, the pressure shifts, birds fly differently, trees respond with a different kind of rustle. Pilots call it turbulence, but from here, from the ground, it's a presence, a kind of invisible voice shaping the air beneath the still sky. And just as water makes music around stones, air sings as it flows over the earth. It's a song without notes, but filled with rhythm, a language of lift and fall, push and yield. So, tonight, imagine standing beneath a lenticular cloud. The air moves around you, not harshly, but with intention. You are surrounded by song, not one you can hum, but one you can feel. A wind song, written for no audience but the earth itself. And you, a quiet listener in the open air. As daylight begins to dim and the horizon slips into lavender and rose, there are moments when lenticular clouds begin to glow. They don't sparkle, they don't blaze. They glow with the kind of light that feels like memory. Suspended in the high sky, they catch the last rays of the sun long after the valleys have gone dim. Their curves blush gold, then peach, then silver white against the deepening blue. And in that quiet radiance, they become beacons, floating lanterns for dreamers, markers of the passage from day into night. You might see one far above the mountains, gently illuminated as the world below grows softer. No need to rush. The lenticular cloud isn't going anywhere. It hovers, holding the light just a little longer. And in doing so, it offers you a place to rest your gaze, a point of peace in the wide, changing sky. Travelers in the past may have looked to such clouds for signs of weather, of direction, of blessing. And while you may not need a compass tonight, you can let this glowing form guide you into stillness, into quiet, into the gentle welcome of dusk. So close your eyes now and picture it, a silver lenticular high above, shining softly in the twilight, showing you the way, not forward, not backward, but inward, to rest, to dreaming, to peace. Some lenticular clouds seem not to belong to any one place in the sky. They hover, not high above, nor low to the ground, but somewhere in between, suspended delicately between layers of air. It's as if they are caught, like ghost ships, adrift in an invisible ocean of atmosphere. These mid-layer lenticulars are shaped by narrow bands of motion, stable layers where cool, moist air glides over dry, warmer layers. And within that slender zone, if conditions align, a cloud may form, not moving upward or downward, but simply resting, cradled by two silent currents. From the ground, they appear dreamlike, flattened, smooth, and gently glowing as if suspended by threads of wind. Sometimes, they sit just above a field of stratocumulus, their curves glowing like silver coins above a bed of mist. Other times, they linger between thinner veils of cirrus, quiet, unassuming, like a single thought caught between breaths. To the trained eye, they are clues, a visible sign of stratification, a layering of the atmosphere that might otherwise go unseen. But to the dreaming eye, they are stories, drifting ships, airborne lullabies. Tonight, imagine yourself in the sky beside one, floating, not upward, not down, but held, balanced. No need to rise, no reason to fall, just gently adrift between layers of breath. When the seasons turn cold, the sky takes on a new kind of silence, and lenticular clouds take on a new kind of beauty. In winter, the air is crisp, dry at the surface, but often rich with ice crystals in the heights above. And when a lenticular cloud forms in this chilly domain, its shape sharpens, its edges grow more defined, its surface more luminous, etched with the delicate clarity of frost. These clouds no longer carry the softness of autumn or spring. They become refined, sculpted, as if carved from ice or made of glassy breath. Sometimes they shimmer, light catching on their icy particles like the glint of moonlight on frozen snow. If the sun is just right, you may even see optical wonders, halos, sundogs, faint rainbows, formed by sunlight refracting through countless tiny crystals floating within the cloud. And in winter, they seem to linger a little longer, as if the stillness of the cold has slowed even the sky's heartbeat. Everything feels hushed, even time. The air is so quiet, you can almost hear the cloud, not in sound, but in presence. A silent sculpture overhead. So tonight, wrap yourself in that hush. Breathe the coolness in your mind. Let the winter lenticular float above you, still, crisp, complete. A cloud of frost and balance. A shape made, not of rain, but of pores. They look dramatic, elegant, vast, but lenticular clouds, for all their grandeur, very rarely bring rain. They are presence without precipitation. All form no falling, unlike dark cumulonimbus clouds that tower and storm, or low nimbostratus that veil the sky in steady drizzle. Lenticulars are watchers, not weepers. They form from moisture, yes, but not from instability. They ride stable air that lifts gently, then sinks again. And in that rhythm, a cloud appears, perfect, poised, but without the depth or vertical motion to turn into rainfall. They may look like they hold thunder inside them, like they're ready to pour, but they rarely do. Instead, they float, they glow, they linger, and then they disappear. To some, that might seem disappointing. A cloud that promises everything but never delivers. But to others, to those who understand stillness, it is something more. A lenticular is not a promise of rain. It is a moment, a sculpture of breath, a gesture of balance. It asks nothing, it gives nothing, it simply is. So tonight, rest in the quiet presence of this rainless cloud. There's nothing to expect, nothing to change, only something to see and feel. A shape above you, poised between storm and sun, offering not weather, but peace. There is a quiet reverence in the voices of pilots when they speak of lenticular clouds. To them, these clouds are not just weather features. They are sky sculptures, elegant forms suspended in a world of motion. High above the terrain, as the cockpit hums with altitude and purpose, a pilot may look out and see a lenticular cloud hovering like a floating sculpture, still, symmetrical, and luminous. They speak of them in tones of awe, recalling the strange silence that seems to wrap around the cloud, even in the midst of powerful winds. Some say it's like flying past a cathedral in the sky, a structure not built, but breathed into being. Others describe it as entering a dream where time stretches and the edges of reality soften into vapor and light. Pilots know these clouds are signals, marking regions of wavelift and often turbulence. But still, they admire them, because to fly alongside a lenticular is to witness the atmosphere at its most poised, a pause in the endless stream of sky. Even from the speed of a jet, the cloud appears untouched, unrushed, a motionless sculpture in a world that never stops moving. Tonight, let that image drift into your imagination, the view from a cockpit, the sky tinted gold, and there, a lenticular cloud resting at eye level, shaped like stillness itself. No need to fly, no need to move. Just feel what it's like to glide past something that doesn't chase or flee, but simply holds its place. A sculpture made of air. Above, the lenticular cloud floats in serenity, perfectly formed, unmoving, but below, the air tells a different story. Beneath the cloud, the atmosphere may be swirling, tumbling, rolling, a hidden turbulence that lies in sharp contrast to the elegance above. This is the dual nature of lenticular clouds, grace above, chaos below. The same wave of air that creates the cloud can also give rise to rotor turbulence beneath it, eddies and currents that churn in rough, spinning motion. To the eye, the cloud is calm, but to the air below, it's a challenge, a dance of conflict and movement. Pilots who pass beneath lenticulars often feel the buffeting winds, the push and pull of the rotor zone. It is invisible from the ground, but it is there, a reminder that not all stillness means quiet within. But this isn't frightening, it's fascinating, because it shows us how complexity and calm can coexist. Above, the sky sculpts a work of beauty. Below, it moves with energy. One cannot exist without the other. And so it is in us too. We may seem still, composed, peaceful, and yet inside, motion continues. Thoughts swirl, emotions shift like wind beneath the wing. Tonight, let the cloud be your guide. Allow your surface to soften, to reflect calm. While inside, you allow what moves to move. There's no need to stop the wind. Just learn to float above it, like the lenticular does, balanced in spite of what lies beneath. Sky watchers are a patient kind. They don't chase drama or demand spectacle. They wait, they observe, they notice the subtle signs that something beautiful may be on the way. A shift in the wind, a ripple in the cirrus, a hush on the mountainside. These are the early hints, the soft signals that the atmosphere is preparing to speak in its gentlest voice. And then, if the air is just right, a lenticular cloud appears, like a reward for noticing, for listening. It doesn't arrive with thunder, it doesn't announce itself. It simply forms, a smooth arc above the ridge, a floating ellipse catching the last light of day. To the sky watcher, this is not just a cloud. It's a moment, a quiet acknowledgement that their stillness was met by the skies. Some might call it a sign, not of fate or weather alone, but of connection between observer and air, between mountain and cloud, between noticing and receiving. So tonight, imagine being one of them, a watcher of the sky. You notice a flicker of motion, a texture in the upper air, and then a lenticular, silent, present, a sign not of what's coming, but of what is. The sky doesn't always speak in storms. Sometimes it simply offers a shape, and if we're quiet enough, we understand. And now our journey begins to soften. We've travelled through waves of air, winds that whisper, and clouds that hold their shape in perfect stillness. We've wandered from mountaintops to layers of sky, from the hush of winter air to the shimmer of iridescent light. And now we drift beyond the lenticulars, not away from them, but gently past. Like a slow balloon rising, we ascend through the last breath of cloud, carrying with us the memory of calm curves and sky-sculpted silence. The lenticular cloud fades below us now, not in loss, but in gratitude. We have felt its shape, we have learned its rhythm, and in doing so, we've come to know a kind of stillness that isn't empty, but full of motion we don't need to chase, full of meaning we don't need to explain. Above us now, the sky deepens. The blue stretches into navy, into violet, into the hush of stars waiting quietly in the wings. And below us, the mountains soften, no longer rigid, but smooth, bathed in the fading silver of dusk. The world beneath grows distant, not in a way that disconnects, but in a way that frees. It becomes quieter, slower, as if even time has decided to rest. We are no longer following a single cloud. We are floating through the feeling they leave behind. That feeling of being held but not bound, of being moved but not hurried, of knowing that even in a world of Endless weather. There are moments when the sky just pauses and lets us breathe. So breathe now, gently, slowly, with no place to go but deeper into peace. Let the lenticular sky fall behind you like a dream that ends softly, without conclusion, without goodbye. There is no final shape, no last word, only drifting, only quiet, only the slow unfolding of night above a world that has nothing left to prove. The cloud becomes a memory, the memory becomes breath, and the breath becomes rest. And in that rest, you are home. And now, as our skyward journey gently winds down, I hope the delicate shapes, soft curves, and whispered stories of lenticular clouds have brought you a sense of calm, a moment of stillness, a touch of wonder gently placed in your night. These cloud-bound lullabies are made for slow breaths, for dreamy thoughts, for letting go of the day and floating into something quieter. If you found peace here, if these weather-woven journeys brought you rest, you're always welcome to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy skywatchers find their way here, one gentle breath at a time, but only if it feels right to you. There's no pressure, no rush. For now, there's nothing you need to do, nothing to fix or chase, only this moment, only rest. So feel free to let go. Let your breath slow. Let your body grow heavy as the last cloud drifts away into the night. Let the sky carry you soft and still. Good night, dear friend. Peaceful dreams and calm skies, always.